Hey everyone, and I've got a big update for you in this massive storm system that's heading our way. That when I say massive, I'm not exaggerating. This could very well end up being the biggest storm we've seen so far this March. There's so much to cover here, so let's just jump right into it because we've got a lot to talk about. Starting off, the most important thing you need to know is that there's already a huge slight risk of severe weather stretching from southern Wisconsin all the way down into eastern Texas on Friday, March 14th. This is a massive area at risk, but what's really catching my attention is right in the middle of that zone. A rare day 530 risk for severe weather centered around Memphis. That's right. 30 risk that this far out is no joke, and it's pretty unusual to see numbers like this so early in the forecast. That risk area also includes places like Little Rock. So if you're in or around those regions, this is something you really need to be paying attention to. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button like this video and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. At this point, we're looking at the potential for all kinds of severe weather, strong tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. Now, I do want to be clear, we don't have all the finer details just yet since we're still several days out, but when you see a setup like this taking shape and this kind of strong signal for severe weather showing up consistently in the models, we're in for a significant event. And the scary part is it's not just confined to Friday. And this whole system carries over into Saturday, and the threat area shifts eastward, encompassing parts of my own backyard here in eastern Kentucky. It stretches westward into Louisville, down through Nashville and Knoxville, and continues south toward Birmingham and into Louisiana. Now, if you're in Louisiana, I know you've already been hit hard by severe weather this year, and unfortunately, it looks like you're about to get more of it. Saturday also brings another rare day 630 risk for severe weather, this time right between Jackson, Mississippi, and Birmingham, Alabama. Anytime we're seeing a 30 risk this far out on the Storm Prediction Center's outlook, it's a big red flag. It means there's very high confidence in dangerous conditions developing, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So what's driving this massive severe weather outbreak? It's all being fueled by a huge upper level trough sweeping across the country between Thursday and Friday. This isn't just any old trough. It's one with what we call a negative tilt. If you're not familiar with that term, a negative tilt happens when the trough is angled toward the south and east. And when we see that orientation, it's a big warning sign that things are about to get serious. That negative tilt is important because it creates the perfect conditions for an explosive storm system. It helps pull warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico up into the system, while at the same time dragging cooler, drier air down from the north. When those two air masses meet and start mixing, it sets the stage for severe weather. But that's not all. We've also got a powerful jet streak coming into play, and this is going to enhance wind shear in a big way. We're talking about very strong surface winds blowing in one direction, while the mid and upper level winds are moving in a completely different direction. And some of those upper level winds are clocking in at over 100 miles per hour. When you get this kind of wind shear combined with warm, unstable air, it creates the perfect environment for tornadoes, especially in the southern states like Arkansas, eastern Texas, northern Louisiana, and parts of Mississippi and Tennessee. Memphis is right in the bullseye of this setup, and that's why the risk is so high. The risk zone isn't just limited to the south, though. This system is so large and so powerful that the slight risk area extends all the way up into parts of Wisconsin and Illinois on Friday. We could very well see severe thunderstorms producing damaging winds and large hail that far north, which just goes to show how widespread and impactful this storm system is going to be. Now, there might be one small saving grace here. As I'm filming this, there are already some severe thunderstorms happening in Florida. And earlier today, there was even a tornado warning down there. That's so all thanks to a smaller system currently sweeping across the Gulf of Mexico and pushing a lot of moisture out to sea. That's important because the Gulf of Mexico is a key source of warm, unstable air for storms like the one we're expecting later this week. With this current system clearing out the Gulf's moisture, it's going to take some time for the atmosphere to rebuild that warm, moist air. So to see that happening again by Wednesday and Thursday, but then wouldn't you know it, another smaller system comes along and sweeps even more of that moisture away. And honestly, if it weren't for those two smaller systems keeping the Gulf relatively dry, This could have been a historic tornado outbreak of epic proportions. I'm not exaggerating when I say that the setup we're seeing here is the kind that can produce widespread destructive tornadoes. So while this is still going to be a major event, we may have dodged an even bigger bullet thanks to the Gulf being a little drier than it would otherwise be. That being said, there's still plenty of moisture getting pulled into the system, especially in the deep south, and there's more than enough instability and wind shear in place to produce strong long track tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. So even though it won't be as bad as it could have been, this is still going to be a dangerous situation, and it's one we need to take seriously. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. On top of the severe weather, this system is also going to bring major snowfall to parts of the western United States. The Cascades and Sierras in California, Oregon, and Washington are going to get absolutely buried under feet of snow. Even the lower elevations will see heavy rainfall. And as the storm moves eastward, we'll see that snow spread into the Rockies, hitting states like Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. By the time this system fully develops over the Western Plains, we're likely looking at a record-breaking low-pressure system. Some models are predicting central pressure as low as 968 MB, which would make this one of the strongest March storm systems on record. And when you get a low-pressure system that deep, you're in for extreme weather on both sides of the storm. Severe thunderstorms and tornadoes ahead of the system, and blizzard conditions with heavy snow and strong winds behind it. And today, things start picking up out west. A low-pressure system just off the coast of California will start pumping moisture into Southern California, bringing rain to places like San Diego and Los Angeles. By Tuesday evening, that rain will spread eastward into Arizona, and the Pacific Northwest will start seeing rain and high-elevation snow as the main trough digs in, bringing moisture into the Cascades and Sierras. By Wednesday morning, March 12th, the heaviest rain will be concentrated in the eastern Carolinas and parts of eastern Georgia, where some spots could pick up an inch or more of rain. Midweek is when things really start to ramp up. We've got a kicker system ahead of the main trough, and this is going to slide from the Four Corners region into Texas and the lower Mississippi Valley. This is where we start seeing the atmosphere really destabilize. By Wednesday afternoon, expect storms to start firing up from Wichita Falls down towards San Antonio and Austin, and then boom. Those storms explode, spreading across southeast Oklahoma, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and down into Waco. These storms will push eastward into Arkansas, East Texas, and Louisiana overnight, and they'll carry the risk of large hail-damaging winds and even a few tornadoes. And then we've got the main trough. And this is where things get serious. By Wednesday, the system will hammer California with heavy rain and mountain snow, then dive into the desert southwest on Thursday. By Friday, it ejects into the central high plains and upper Midwest as a negatively tilted trough. And that's when we're looking at the potential for a major severe weather outbreak. The Storm Prediction Center is already highlighting a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk across parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley, including southeast Missouri, eastern Arkansas, southern Illinois, and western Kentucky. That severe threat stretches from Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, and Dubuque, Iowa, all the way south toward Houston, Texas, and Lake Charles, Louisiana. This is an enormous area of real estate with serious potential for severe storms. As we head into Saturday, March 15th, the severe threat shifts eastward and the enhanced risk zone expands into parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Kentucky. Places like Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Jackson, and Meridian need to be on high alert for the potential of tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. At the same time, on the backside of the system, we're going to see a major blizzard take shape. This storm will rapidly intensify into a bomb cyclone, potentially deepening to 974 MB as it pushes into the upper Midwest. That tight pressure gradient is going to whip up intense winds. And the snowfall on the cold side of the system will be heavy and wind-driven. Expect whiteout conditions from the Dakotas into western Iowa and Minnesota by Friday night into Saturday morning. Snow totals could pile up fast, with some areas seeing well over a foot of snow, especially in the higher elevations of the Rockies and across parts of the northern plains. Looking ahead to the week of March 17th, it doesn't look like we're getting much of a break. A clash of cold air out west and warm air out east is setting up the atmosphere for another potential large storm system. We're talking more severe weather, heavy rain, and possibly another blizzard as the pattern stays active. The European model is already hinting at a big-time trough with significant wind energy, while the American GFS model shows a slightly flatter and faster-moving system. There's still a lot of uncertainty, but the signals for more impactful weather are definitely there. So there you have it. The next couple weeks are packed with severe weather, flash flooding, blizzards, high winds, and even wildfire risks. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date with the latest, most reliable weather information right here on YouTube. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and share it with your friends, family, and on social media so everyone stays prepared. And if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll be reading through them, answering as many as I can after the video. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next update.